Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the regional launch of our foundation data, delivering instant access to reliable utility data you can trust and verify, now available on the East Coast. And, launch parties aren't that fun if you don't have friends that are joining along with you. So we brought our partners from Woolpert with us today. As you can see on screen here, joining me is my friend and colleague, David Finucane. He's at AE here at 4M, and Jason Kale, Technology and Operations Coordinator over at Woolpert. First and foremost, I wanted to welcome all the newcomers here today, just learning about 4M. We're really glad that you're able to join us today. Everybody that's been here before, welcome back. I got some exciting new capabilities to share with you today and an amazing customer story on how 4M is helping Woolpert with smarter, safer, and more cost-effective engineering. Moving right along today's agenda, we're going to do introductions, get to know 4M and Woolpert. Then we're going to hop into a live demo, see 4M in action. My colleague David's going to be sharing mapping an area in Pennsylvania, one of the states we just recently launched. Then we're going to hop into a customer story, hear how Woolpert uses 4M's utility AI in their daily workflows. Really excited for that story. And then, as I mentioned, Q&A after party. All right. So who is 4M? Thanks for asking. 4M is the first utility AI mapping platform, and we're built for infrastructure teams, DOTs, and utility owners. 4M delivers instant, reliable utility data you can trust and verify at every stage, emphasis on every stage of planning, design, and pre-construction. So just think of us as a comprehensive utility repository, all utilities, one platform, powered by AI and verified by humans. And as you can see, our mission is to unlock the world below us, ensuring the continuity and development of all critical infrastructure and services people rely on. And helping us fulfill that mission are our amazing partners and customers. As you can see, some of them on the screen there. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this journey. We wouldn't be able to fulfill this mission without you guys. And that's a little bit about 4M. I'm going to pass the torch on over to my friend Jason.
Sure, thank you. My name is Jason Kale. I've been working at Woolpert now 26 years. I started working in utility data somewhere around the 2000, 2001 era. Had some really great mentors throughout the years to help me get to where I am today. Looking at 4M and the partnership with them and really trying to figure out how we unlock and even more efficient and more practical workflows for our clientele. A little bit about Woolpert. Started in 1911. As you see here, we're now over 2,500 staff and 5 different continents. So we're a really fast growing company across many, many different facets of the AAG spectrum. And we're happy to be here today.
Thank you, Jason. Moving right along, David, you mind setting the floor on why we're here today, why 4M, why now? What's the current state of the industry? And more specifically, what will happen if we keep using traditional methods? How will we be able to advance our critical infrastructure? So passing the torch on over to you, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jason, thank you so much for being here. Of course, one of our critical partners that we get to work from, and it's the partners that give us the information that we have here on the screen that allows us to know how we can best work with you folks and understanding the industry that we're impacting and what we know to be true from speaking to Jason and our customers. So we understand the job you all are doing is rewarding, but it's not easy. So some of the things we're most commonly hearing are taking weeks to months to gather this information, right? Doing manual utility investigations. 4M won't replace these features, but rather supplement and streamline them. Doing so really leads to these avoidable issues, right? Project delays, conflicts, rework, surprises, redesign, right? As the project progresses, and we all know as deeper we get into these projects, the more costly things become, right? And as we go through this age of digital transformation, as a former contractor myself, right, we used to have drawings out in the field. We get a call at 7 a.m. There's a revision coming in. We need you to work off of this new set of plans. Okay, where are they? We're waiting for a driver to get in. It takes hours for them to get in there. We're sitting around waiting so we don't do anything that we're going to have to go back and do again. So now with technology, we see those processes streamlined. I'm is also hoping to streamline this digital record research part of this, right? So we can really get to the truth faster and easier. So we've challenged the status quo. And we're really happy to be working with innovative companies like Woolpert, who understood that what was just quote unquote part of the job is actually an opportunity area. And really from here, right, as we look at this is going to be the process we're hearing. We're submitting an 811 ticket. We're waiting to hear back from them, right? Once we hear back from them, now we're going to start reaching out to those utility owners from what was provided. Maybe we get a 50% response. Whatever happens from there, then we actually get responses. And these are the maps that we're getting back, right? We see Nothing geolocated, just a few lines on some scratch notes, nothing really that shows us where this is going to be. So now we have to manually stitch all of this data together, right? We have engineers on record trying to now layer all this information into one digital file. And if we're thinking about a pursuit or proposal, having that information even before getting out to a site visit can be very timely and costly. So with 4M, we're able to streamline all this, and instead of this taking weeks and months, getting you this information up front. And actually a question for you, Jason, does any of this look and sound familiar? And what were some of the biggest challenges you felt you and your team faced with utility research and utility investigations prior to utilizing 4M?
It does. And this is exactly why we were interested in partnering with 4M is the upfront efficiency saved. When we do that initial cost estimate for our client, going, what is out there? The old traditional method is what you said, go into Google Earth. In addition to that, go to Google Earth and look at the utility structures out there and try to guess how much, based on our experience, how many utilities were out there. So this has definitely helped us.
Now with 4M, right, we're talking about how does this actually help you? It's getting this data faster, right? We're showing 90% faster utility investigations. We're seeing reliable coverage in these states as we release to more states on the East Coast. We'll demo a project in Pennsylvania here in just a second. But really what we've done is we've created this one digitalized platform for your teams to come in and utilize, right? And anyone and everyone can come in to the 4M platform and get the utility data that they need. And with that being said, I think it's time we jump over to the product and actually show you what we're working with here. And we'll jump right over to 4M, the platform we're seeing itself. We started to create a project. I know Jason, my Ohio State comrade here, as a Penn Stater, I had to pull up a project here in Happy Valley. So I came in here, and what we'll do is we'll just quickly draw a project so you can see instantly how we're able to pull the utility records and information in here. So it's as simple as clicking on a few points. You can do this by GIS upload as well, or by drawing a linear line and setting a center point down to right away. But for simplicity purposes, right, we can see here, quickly and easily draw this project. We give it a name. And of course, we have the associated project folders that you can start to organize this in. And then when we click on View Utility Map, we'll start to see the line work from this pulling instantly. It's fetching records, it's geolocating those records. That process we talked about with 811 now gets pulled in quickly and easily. So we see the line work start to appear. We also see that the project is ready for object detection. So on top of what you're seeing currently, we're also going to match these records that we're digitizing on this map up with the above ground and surface features that we're going to identify as well. Think of manholes, utility poles, hydrants, pedestals, all those things that give us an indication of where these subsurface lines are. We will import directly into our map within the next 30 minutes or so. Coming back down into this project, there's a few features to touch on, right? We instantly see the visualization of these utility lines. We're able to now come in and slice and dice this information and assess utility density, complexity, and identify conflicts, utility needs, and really streamline all of this, right? So we can toggle on here what is in and outside of the right-of-way and the analytics associated with those. We can also pull up the parcel information that includes not just the name and owner, but also the land value and parcel land value. So we start being able to identify these areas of opportunity quicker. And my favorite area here is being able to identify high-risk crossings. So where do we know when we go out to the field that we're going to have multiple lines in a single designated location that we're going to need to be careful around? So with this, we are able to call those out instantly and start seeing where we need to prioritize our efforts on these projects. And it allows us to communicate with our customers, your customers, where we see risks, what we're going to be doing, giving us a competitive edge on those proposals. We also have utility insights. So utility insights allow us to quickly assess utility risks across our project area. And by utilizing this interactive dashboard using our Gen I agent, it utilizes and analyzes utility locations, right-of-way boundaries, parcel zoning, crossings, and immediately flags those potential risks and gives you a quick write-up here of what you can expect to be seeing within your project area. And of course, we want to pull this data over, right? We're gathering and we're synchronizing all this data. We will allow it to be downloaded into GIS format. And by pulling it over into GIS, we can quickly see here, we can come back into Google Earth and actually start seeing the lines and the objects in here, right? So we see the water lines here, we see the telephone pole and the objects that get picked up here. We can start to actually build this map together of what we can expect to see in the underground directly from 4M, again, instantly. Do want to take us over to a project that has the object detection on it here that we also did in Pennsylvania. And it gives you an idea here of the line work and the associated objects that we're seeing. We break these objects out. You see here manholes, inlets, valves, so on and so forth. And we can come directly down to Google Street View and view any of these objects in here as well. So we can do this across a variety of different areas and tools, but this really gives us one place to start working off all of this data. This is a generalized area of how 4M is being utilized, but Jason would love to turn it over to you. And you're seeing this now in action, right? You've seen this before, you've used 4M before. What am I saying here that really stands out? And what maybe did I miss that is something that you're prioritizing today?
Well, right off the bat, if a CAD technician is working on a drawing for delivery and it wasn't coded in a field correctly or double coded or miscoded, and it just doesn't make sense. They can quickly come in here to object detection, zoom into it. He showed a catch basin right there, or a drain inlet. We can go in there and go, is that a curb inlet or is it just a grate? And immediately, without ever calling anybody in the field, we can look at that object instantly and go, okay, that's just a grate. We can take it off being a curb inlet. So that kind of information, that rapid response, that ability to go in practically instantly to verify the field data is a very valuable asset.
Absolutely. Yeah. Aligns with what another customer had shared with me actually just this morning, being able to identify a series of fire hydrants on a map. They were able to trace and confirm the location of a critical water main that they had struggled to locate using traditional records. Right? How long would we have been searching for that information, going on site to find this information before being able to capture this all at once? Last thing I'll share here is now that we have released this in Pennsylvania with Virginia coming up next, our local resident Jason here in Virginia, I'm sure will be very excited about that. But as you can see here, the states highlighted in yellow are going to be our mapped states right now. So in any of these yellow states, what I just did, anyone and everyone can go in to 4M and access the data that we have for these areas instantly. So the power behind that is massive. And of course, we do provide on-demand services in upcoming states and not map states yet. So we do work with customers across all 50 states, but we're seeing a lot of utility on the conceptual pursuit side of things, really highlighted here in yellow. So Jason, I know that you had a lot to share and a project example that might be relevant to the audience here. So I will stop sharing my screen and allow you to take over.
Okay, thank you. So what you're looking here is a product from 4M. This is actually in Ohio, so it is not even the foundation data. It is the verified data that the humans go through and really go through and dig themselves. And what you can see here is before the field efforts were even stepped out, no level B teams were sent out yet at this point. But we're able to overlay this on a set of design plans and go, okay, what are utilities going to impact? 10, 15, 30% engineering stage. An engineer would come in here and quickly go, hey, I've got an issue with the stream here. What utilities are going to impact it for crossing? We're going to put more drainage system over here on this side of the project. What utilities are we going to come across without having to spend the time of doing the records research themselves. Now, this will not replace the records research. Will still have to happen. We'll still have to collect those records and digest them and put them on the drawing and update this drawing. But it gives us that first step out the door, that ability to look at it quickly and go, okay, here's what we have out there. Here's what we're going to expect. So then when we go into the field, we can really focus our teams going, okay, we're really going to focus on this side of the intersection because we're going to put some lane widening. So do we need to focus our team here because there's a lot of utilities? Further down the road, we're not going to do as much. So we don't have to really push our teams to locate this area and to really dig in deep. So it's allowing us not only to focus our level B efforts, but then when level A comes into play, when we start looking at utility conflicts or potential utility conflicts, that utilizing this data coupled with our level B data, we can really focus those level A efforts and give a client a more efficient price, a more accurate account of what's out there, and let them make the decisions they need to make. And that usually cuts 10 to 20, maybe 30% off of our time, which is a project this size with multi-million dollars. A 30% savings on the utility investigations and engineering is a huge cost savings to our client.
And Jason, curious, how do you combine the 4M data with what we're looking at here with GPR and other sweeps that you might be doing, combining this all into one?
Well, our level B efforts, GPR derived or derived, will always take precedence. We know we've swung the wand, we pushed the cart, we know what we see out there. We'll then take the utility data, just similar here as you see the background's kind of grayed out. We'll do the same thing with the 4M utility data. It'll be in the background. And then on the foreground, we'll have our color-coded utility lines. And we'll go do a quick verification. And anybody who's done CAD before understands that verifying data is a lot easier than generating the data themselves. And that's typically how in the past it was done. You combine all these record research from all these different stakeholders out there for utilities, and then somebody has to digitize them or hand draw them. Even the GIS maps we've seen in the past have really struggled with spatial accuracy. So having this tool in place of someone spending the time to digitize, making mistakes, the 9 a.m. product is never as good as the 4:30 product. It just allows us to have that step up. And just like I say, with this grayed out background, it allows that turn that CAD technician into a QA/QC role instead of a generating role. And anytime you can do QA/QC, first and foremost, you're ahead of the game.
Couldn't agree more, Jason. And I'm interested also, I want to make sure we get to some of the questions here at the end, but how has this changed your approach to SUE efforts, right? We've talked about A and B, but did the C and D level information impact you in collaborating with your DOT clients or any other stakeholders on your projects?
Yeah, especially in the foundation states, what we're able to do is usually have, 3 to 5, maybe a larger project, maybe a week or two to respond to a client with a scope and estimate. The states with foundation data, this has really allowed us to cut off a huge amount of guesswork. As an SUE professional, we go into a project like this and we use our historical knowledge. It's a best guess of what we think's out there. Now, that best guess is based on truly our experience and what we've seen and Google Earth and any pieces of information we have about that area. Having 4M foundation data allows us to get an even further leg up on the pricing side and see what's out there. So our estimates are more accurate. Our estimates are a quicker turnaround instead of doing street view up and down this road, trying to count utilities and verify what's out there or see what's out there. We're able to quickly do a polygonic 4M and go, bam, here's what we're expecting. Now, is it going to be perfect? No product anywhere is perfect, but it gives us that 80 to 90% confidence level of what we see out there is what we're going to expect.
Couldn't agree more. And within these roadway corridors, especially when utility congestion is pretty high, especially in these urban, suburban areas, you feel like this information is valuable in managing risks. And I know we talked a lot about the safety component of this and the risk mitigation, because of course there's time savings when we think about record research and all that goes into it, getting that all into one. But would you elaborate on the risks that this has helped alleviate?
The way I see it, any little bit of information, whether it's word of mouth from the field engineer who's been out there on the utility project 25, 30 years ago and remembers the pipe being put in the ground, down to the 4M product, which is more accurate than that, to what we see out in the field. Every piece of information leads to a successful product. If there's a line and the guy says, hey, it's out there in the middle of nowhere, we're going to put that on the drawing and label as level D, because we don't want to be a surprise out there during construction. Because the worst thing on the construction site is a track hoe uncovering a pipe that nobody knew about. And that stops everybody because of the risks. Every little bit of information we can bring into play helps mitigate the risk. That's how we view it.
Absolutely. And also with that, from a Woolpert perspective, would you look at this as just like a tech upgrade, or what other areas do you see 4M being here versus just a client vendor relationship?
It's a next evolution, and it's not a replacement for boots on the ground, swing the wand, push the GPR. It is an enhancement. It's the next step in SUE. There's been very little technology jumps. I think this is a technology jump where we're utilizing the technology available to us today through imagery, through records research, through every little piece of information that 4M has that we don't have readily available, utilizing AI to pull that out and to collate that and make it spatially accurate. It all helps that product at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I want to take a step back, right? Because I'm sure a lot of people in the audience are probably wondering this. And I know me and you had these conversations a while back as well. When we first got 4M in place, we're talking about utilizing AI. We're talking about utilizing new technologies in the SUE industry that we haven't really seen before, right? So there's a level of trust that needs to be earned, I believe, by the 4M team when providing this data. So at what point in time did you feel, what deliverable did you really look at 4M and say, wow, this is really this is what we've been looking for. This is what we need. I'm interested to learn kind of what that inflection point was for you.
So we utilized it on different projects in different states. So here in Virginia, Ohio, Texas, and Florida, both the foundation data and the verified data, and looked at it from, we're not going to do a side-by-side comparison. There were projects we already did level B on, so we knew what was out there. We had a very good idea what was out there, because there's always potential to miss something. So we got there and we do the project, and then we take this form data, we ordered it, laid it on top of our CAD drawings and go, okay, so is it perfect? No, it's not. And they don't claim it to be, but it's pretty darn close. And was it spatially as accurate? No, it's not surveyed. So there's going to be right and left 2, 3, 4 feet, sometimes more. But what it did was give us an idea of, well, did we capture everything? Did we miss anything? That was the crucial data point. Is I was hoping to find, and throughout the different projects early on, was that 4M would find stuff that we missed. Fortunately, we had not come across that yet. I'm sure there is something, but we didn't see any, but that's okay. There's going to come a point in time that where our field techs are not going to see something, and we're going to utilize this data and we're going to find something we weren't expecting.
And I imagine you're supplementing this data to those field teams in advance as well, right? So they have a good idea, especially with the objects, the crossings, a baseline of information for them to go out and locate this information?
Like we said earlier, it doesn't replace the records research. So that's still being done on the front end as much as possible. But what we're able to do with 4M is within 10 days of ordering the product is get back that information and provide that a similar drawing to what you see here to the field crews, so they have an idea of what they're up against. They still get the data from all the records from the stakeholders, but that's in addition to this. And that just it's one more piece of information to help bring around a successful project quickly and efficiently.
Absolutely. Kind of a fun one for you, Jason. I know we're going to be wrapping up on time here soon. Everything we're talking about, right? There's a lot of kind of areas of 4M. What's your favorite product feature that maybe we haven't talked about yet today?
It has to be just the overall quickness of the product. It's not one feature and in the big picture of things. It is literally being able to, in a foundation state, almost instantly pull up the information and be able to look at that snapshot. So if I have a client call or another internal manager, project surveyor call and say, hey, I've got a project that looks just like this intersection, in a matter of minutes while I'm on the phone with them, I can take a snapshot and I go, okay, this is going to take 6 days. And we're going to have a three-man crew on it, 6 days. We're going to knock it out. And I don't expect you to find any really surprises out there.
Great. Really last thing here, Jason, and feel free to share anything else after this, but the only reason we're here with you and where 4M is today is because we took our customers' feedback seriously. And we work with our customers to implement the product enhancements that we go through. So with that said, what would you like to see 4M gravitate towards? What areas of opportunity do you see between 4M and Woolpert going into the future?
So my dream, and I know a lot on the phone will ask this question or possibly ask this question, is can I get the records from behind it? Eventually, I would like to see records research provided. It's not always going to be possible. We all know if you've spent 5 minutes in this industry, you understand that it's very difficult to get records out of some stakeholders. And we still are obligated for some of our clients to provide those as backup to what we've done. And so they don't have to go through the research because it's such a tedious process at times. So that would be the dream. Reality, probably near future, probably not going to happen, but long term would be great. Where would I like to see Woolpert and 4M evolve to is us and other of your customers end up feeding back data and helping you develop a better product. Because at the end of the day, whether it is a job, we all get paid for it, we make money as a company, but we're protecting the lives of the general public. If we were gas lines, electric lines, fiber optic lines, they're all really important. Water lines and sewer lines as well. But the ones that can really hurt people are the gas and the electric. And as long as we're mapping out those and we're providing feedback and helping you improve your product, which at the end of the day will help us all improve all of our products. And that's really where a company should be involved in SUE or any kind of engineering is we're not only trying to make money, but we're also trying to help the public have a better product.
Absolutely. Can't lose sight of that, right? That's why you all became engineers, right? And we get into the day-to-day, but we really pull ourselves back. That's the name of the game right there.
Yeah, thanks, guys. This has been a great discussion. And as I mentioned, we're going to keep this discussion going for everybody that can hang on. We're going to answer some of the questions that came in for everybody that has to jump now because you guys have another meeting or whatnot. I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. We hope to have you guys back for the next one. But yeah, without further ado, we are going to hop into some Q&A as promised. One of the questions that came in was, does 4M, and I think we were just talking about this a moment ago, does 4M supply utility records with your data? Where can we get the sources?
Jason, you just touched on that, but currently speaking, it's not an area that we are providing that data readily right now. It depends in certain instances. If we have shareable data, Jason can request that we share that data. But oftentimes, as you can imagine, there are proprietary motions in play. Jason, I know this has been something that's come up and what you're hoping to see in the future. How do you currently work around that today?
Well, like we said earlier, it's not a replacement. So we're still having to do the records research and pull it. But now we don't have to try to jam that in the front of the project. We're able to do that, a week or two into the project, going, okay, let's start the records research right away. But it's not let's take 3 techs and have them make phone calls for the next week. So it allows us to slow that process down and do it more efficiently and more orderly manner.
Another question, can we integrate it with other GIS and CAD tools?
Yeah, I can speak to it quickly. Our main deliverable will come with a GIS associated file. So KMZ, KML, shape files that can be directly imported and even converted to CAD. As Jason has mentioned, he is utilizing some of our higher tier deliverables that do come with a CAD file. We are currently working, our product team is actively in beta phases right now to get API set up with Bentley, with Autodesk, so that when we're in Bentley, you'll see a 4M icon, click on it, and the 4M map and information will automatically sync and flow through. I'm not there yet, but one of those things where we do have the CAD file deliverable on demand. Jason, I'll let you tackle it as well.
Yeah, so typically what we do is we just bring the shape files down and we'll convert them ourselves. And most CAD platforms can either ingest it or we can take it into ARC and pull it back out. So the data comes out, the shape files is what we use. For the field crews is the simple KMZ. They would rather use that. They'll upload it on their phones, their tablets, or even their data collectors, and they can operate right off Google Earth on their data collector.
We had one that just came in. Have you seen 4M, and this is to you, Jason, help mitigate safety risks for the locator staff in the field?
Good question. Yes, so it will allow us to, whether we need to get traffic control or not. Project Northern Virginia, Dulles Toll Road is a perfect example of that. When you get, there's 2-lane road to turn into an 8-lane road with a train going down the center. The utilities are stacked really heavily on the outside of those 8 lanes. When they cross the roads, our folks are in the traffic more. So if we need to get more traffic control and essentially shut down that intersection or that side street, that enables us to isolate that, go, okay, we've got a heavy amount of crossings here, or, instead of going to Google Earth and trying to find the drainage and sanitary, whether it's going down the road or not, now we can pull 4M and we go, okay, yes, the manholes, the lines are all going down the road and it's running parallel in the roadway. So we're going to have traffic control. Well, which lanes are we going to shut down? Well, we might have to shut down the right and the left lane or just the right lane. So it gives us that ability to save our crews, to be safety minded and conscious about having the traffic control, letting us focus our efforts going, okay, well, we need to schedule 5 days of traffic control. We can do that towards the middle of the project or towards the end of the project. And it allows us to safely do that in an efficient manner.
Thank you, Jason. What are the main use cases for M at Woolpert? And are there any other teams that you think would see value?
So right now we're talking to our energy group when they're working with larger energy clients, their DOTs, of course, any kind of corridor work. And then our aviation group as well, pushing anybody who does any kind of engineering that ends up moving dirt or working on the ground. They can benefit from 4M. On an airfield, I know the webinar you had with Kimberly Horn, it is difficult to work on an airfield, but having this data in the AI driven, giving us an idea of what's out there before we step boots on the ground. Now, it's same with DOT. We're able to focus our efforts. So those are probably 3 primary markets that we'll work with, but I'm sure that any market that deals with utilities, even architecture in our building sector, will benefit from 4M utility data.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. That was really interesting. As you mentioned, airports don't like to close, so being able to investigate some of those utilities remotely to give you a head start on what you're looking at definitely makes both parties happier. Not having to put boots on the ground and close that airport down. Jason, another question for you. How would you recommend 4M to upper management or other colleagues? We're interested in 4M, but would like your perspective on it, on how to communicate 4M to within.
So upper management always responds to dollars before it seems like almost for anything. Safety is always a factor. It should be the primary focus when you're dealing with the staff. Safety would be the first topic to start with. Being the focused effort we talked about before, we're able to focus where our folks work and keep people out of the roadway when we can, keep people off the runways when we can. In energy where it's an electrical substation, we can make sure that we know where all these utility lines are coming into the substations so that we're able to keep our people safe. The really one they're going to trip on though is the financial savings, the ROI, the able to quickly respond to a client's needs on an estimating side. Then on the product, the extra level of QA/QC, that is, it's not free, but it allows it without having to research and go really in depth to find out what's there. You lay that grayed out map behind our map and you say, okay, look, we have a good quality data. We have another level of certainty with the data. And that turns into dollars. Each project's going to be different, whether it's a 15 or 30% savings, but there is a savings there.
Thank you, Jason. I'm actually curious. I have a question. I don't know if I count as being able to ask questions here, but I'm curious how you would describe, I mean, being a marketer, I'm always interested. How would you describe somebody in your position, what 4M is or who 4M is? If say we're in an elevator and you're trying to describe us to somebody, I mean, I can describe 4M, but it's always interesting to hear the people actually using the product, what 4M is.
It's a new kind of screwdriver that makes it turn the screw faster and maybe easier. Is it going to replace your old screwdriver? No, but it's going to help you get there quicker. It's kind of like having a battery-powered screw gun in your tool bag and be able to pull it out and utilize it when you need it. But sometimes you need the good old-fashioned handheld screwdriver.
I love that. I'm going to use that now. No, I love that.
Bill's in the mail.
No, I love that, and it kind of goes back to the whole use of AI, where it's empowering the engineer, not replacing. It's just getting us to the 100-yard or the finish line quicker. So it's starting on the 10-yard line or the 20-yard line instead of the 0-yard line. You still got to run the race. You still got to do it. But it's just getting us there a little bit quicker. So thanks for that analogy.
Yep.
David, this would be for you. How does 4M keep data up to date?
How do we keep it up to date?
Yeah.
So when we have a map that's like a state that's pre-mapped, right? As we just have Pennsylvania pre-mapped, it's mapped, but we're constantly running updates on this, right? The AI is running 24/7, looking for new RFPs, looking for proposed lines, looking for new information that we can feed the AI. We are updating the system every 30 days per each state. So every 30 days, there will be a refresh for any new and important information. We actually had a client recently just do some construction work, had 4M pull it. 2 weeks later, we were able to identify those lines there on the map. So when it comes to collecting and updating our information, it's one of the most important things that we do here, because as we know, construction never stops. We have to keep going with it. So again, as we feed the AI more information, it also gets smarter, right? The more information we can provide it, the more logic it can apply to the records that it is analyzing, as well as the features and construction that we're seeing on the satellite imagery as well. So short way to answer this question is every 30 days, you'll be seeing updates on the 4M.
And isn't there an enrichment too that can happen when a project gets mapped?
Correct, yes. So as we are running our real-time data, as I did on a project before there in State College, if the AI identifies that new areas or new files have been uploaded since its last update, it'll automatically flag that project and route it through an enhancement process. This enhancement process can take anywhere from 1 to 2 days, but it's really just sharing with you that we've identified this project has more information that we can provide you. Give us a day. You have a baseline, but give us a day and we will provide you with all the latest and greatest information that we have.
All right. Well, I think we're We've hit all the questions. I want to thank my colleague and Jason for joining us from Woolpert for this conversation. We really value our partnership, Jason, and we're really excited to see all the amazing things that you and Woolpert are doing with 4M, and I look forward to many more successful projects to come.
Likewise. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Happy mapping.
Cheers.